Hello, I'm Matthew Jones.
I'm Anthony Frutia.
And here is our coverage for the PlayStation E3 event.
So I didn't see all of this event yet, just bits and pieces. I've been too busy. But you did get to see
Yeah,
it.
I understand. Yeah, you were super busy getting our Xbox stuff ready, which will hopefully be uploaded
tonight.
Shortly after this one, so you'll get to enjoy it. But the PlayStation one, man, that was a treat. So the cool thing is, the first thing that PlayStation did that everyone else didn't do this year is that they did something they did last year, what they started out, which was the PlayStation experience. What that allowed people to do is they allowed people to go to movie theaters across the U.S. and I think in Canada and other places and whatnot, and actually watch the conference live.
Wow, they did this last year too.
They did it last year too. The cool thing about last year that they gave away stuff for free. So if you went to the event, you got things like you got a collector's cup, you got a playing card for Sony. You also got this snazzy E3 PlayStation experience, and you also got the VIP lanyard when you went in. Cool thing about the VIP lanyard is it came with a code on it. Now the code allowed you to not only get what they are calling their digital gift basket, but also put you in for a drawing to win a bigger prize within the next few days. The code was dated, so this is a really cool thing to do. And anything like an E3 type event is way cooler when you can see it with a bunch of people.
Nice.
So we'll go into the big stuff. And the first big thing that really kind of came up, and we're talking about here, is PlayStation VR. It wasn't the first thing that popped up, but this was the major hardware thing. And I say this now because after the PlayStation hardware, no one else. We only cared about the games, and the one thing that Sony just delivered on was game after game after game after game. So
this is going to be $400.
So yeah, $400.
And there's supposed to be 50 games at launch for it.
Yep.
Are they all demos or are they actual?
It's going to be a mix. So it's kind of hard to tell because a lot of the ones like Oculus and HTC Vive, those ones have a lot of tech demo stuff right now. So with those ones, it's like cool bits and pieces of what could be a major game. So Sony's promising 50 games by the end of 2016, which is pretty cool. They showed a lot of cool stuff. There was
one of them that I liked, Batman.
Batman, yep. Batman, and Mark Hamill did the video for the voice acting for it, so that looked really cool. So it was called like Wear the Cowl. I don't know if it's a full game or just a demo. That seemed pretty cool though. There's going to be a Battlefront mission where you're inside the X-Wing.
Nice. And
that looked great. The coolest thing, however, probably with the VR they brought up was this.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so part of the big thing
at
Resident Evil 7. Resident Evil 7 was the big thing that happened regarding the VR. They showed a bit of a tech demo for it at the beginning of the first level where you're kind of walking around the kitchen and whatnot. This looked amazing, and it also looks absolutely terrifying because of how VR is. They showed gameplay.
Yeah.
The cool thing is that you can play Resident Evil 7 in VR from start of the game to end of the game. Wow. So the full game is VR capable. This is a perfect example of a game that's getting a full release in VR, where not every game has a full VR schedule showing so far. But it looks scary. It looks really cool though.
So based on what we've seen so far between Microsoft and Sony, who do you think has the advantage right now?
As we continue this conversation, Sony totally has the advantage right now. The VR stuff that they showed was cool. I don't know if it's worth it for me yet. I need to see where things are going. But something like Resident Evil in VR, I would totally play that, and that's totally the same way to go. But then as the conference went on, this happened a little later on, we started getting other things.
This was really awesome. I got to see this.
The next cool thing that really came up, there is going to be a Spider-Man game. Yep. Spider-Man, however, being made by Insomniac Games. The guys who do Ratchet and Clank, Sunset Overdrive for the Xbox. These guys are great at platformers. These guys are great at action-adventure games. Open world stuff, which Spider-Man is really cool for.
Have you played the older Spider-Man
games? I played the older Spider-Man games. The
Spider-Man 2 for
Spider-Man
PS2.
2 for PS2. Even the original Spider-Man game for PS2 and GameCube.
Yep.
That was just a fun game. And Spider-Man, it wasn't the greatest game, but it was a lot of fun. This gives a lot of great insight to what we're going to... They showed a cool video. They didn't show any in-game stuff yet, but the one thing about Insomniac Games is they make pretty games. So
yeah,
even if it's just CGI right now, what they were showing, in-game will probably look almost just as good, if not as good.
Is this going to be exclusive?
As far as it's labeled right now, this is a PlayStation exclusive. Is from what I can tell. Sony owns the movie rights to Spider-Man anyway. This is not a movie game.
Marvel just got Spider-Man back.
I mean, they got Spider-Man back so he can play in the other universe, but they still have certain rights for it. Yeah. So for them, this is kind of like their tie-in maybe, but it's its own game. It doesn't look like it's exactly the same thing, but this looked pretty cool though. I was super excited for this one.
Tell me what this is.
So this was probably my favorite moment of the PlayStation 1. For anybody who knows Sony at all, this is a picture from The Last Guardian. This has been a Sony project for a very long time.
How many years now?
A
couple.
7, 8, 9, longer. This was a game that was announced, that was talked about for the original PlayStation was talked about around the time at the beginning of the PlayStation 3,
yep.
A little bit beforehand as one of those games coming into the PS3, so end of PS2 into PS3 time.
What's taking them so long?
And then, I don't know, I mean, it's one of those games that Team Ico is really known for putting a lot of work into their games, and they're not going to rush it. The cool thing is that after so long, over the past couple of years, Sony has given us more and more. Coolest thing on this one, they gave us a release date. This comes out in October, and this is, for me, this is a PlayStation. This is a reason to go out and buy a PlayStation, because their games are, Team Ico games are always fun. They're great plays. They're heart-wrenching, and I'm sure Sony's going to make people cry with this game. I hate you, Sony, now, because I'm probably going to cry, and I know too many people who will too. But I'm sure the game's going to be amazing, and because that's everything they do has always been that kind of way. So this was a big thing when people came out, when the Sony guy came out on the stage. There was like a hologram following him, and it was the shadow of Crash Bandicoot. That got the crowd cheering. A little bit of disappointment in the sense that a lot of people were hoping for like a brand new Crash Bandicoot game. Crash is owned by Activision. He's been owned by Activision for a long time now, but now he's going to be in Skylanders. Okay. So it's cool. I mean, he's going to go join Spyro over in Skylanders. That'll be a lot of fun. The new Skylanders game looks really cool. But the bigger thing that they announced for Crash was that for PlayStation they're going to do Crash Bandicoot Remastered.
Nice.
So Crash Bandicoot 1, 2, and Crash Bandicoot Warped will be remastered for the PlayStation 4. So it's not a new Crash game.
I'll take it though.
But yeah, I mean, if you're a Crash Bandicoot fan, which I mean, he's always been a fun character to play. It'll be great. It'll be it'll be cool to have that back, at least on the new PlayStation.
Exactly. So. Do you know how much this is going to be?
I'm not sure. I mean, there's no real call for it. New Skylanders games usually run $60 to $100 depending on the variant of the game. There'll probably be a dark edition with like a dark Crash Bandicoot and a dark Spyro and a dark everybody else, because that's how they do the Skylanders characters, which is pretty cool. More than likely, it'll probably be $40. Like a lot of the HD remasters seem to be coming around $40. But I mean, 3 games completely redone. I mean, if it looks good, I mean that'll be, as long as it still plays good and they're able to transpose it that way, that should be fine.
Yeah. When's the last time we had a Crash Bandicoot game?
I don't think we haven't had a Crash Bandicoot since the PlayStation 2, maybe.
Wow.
Unless there was one in the early stages of the Xbox, but I'm pretty sure there wasn't. No. Or for the 360, but no, I'm pretty sure not.
So it's good, he's back.
It was in one of those, I think it was one of those tag team type games, but yeah, so it's cool. He's back at least in one way. It'll be at least interesting to see how Activision uses him that way.
You know what we need a HD remake of?
What?
Jak and Daxter.
Jak and Daxter.
Have they already made a remake?
They haven't yet. Okay. I mean, that's a possibility. I mean, that's a Naughty Dog game.
Right.
And Sony's the releaser of that, so that's a lot easier to happen if that's... So that's really the next... PlayStation guys, so maybe next E3 we'll get a Jak and Daxter one. So let's see what next we got. So this was a huge confusion for a lot of people. This trailer looked gorgeous, but it looked exactly like The Last of Us. Everyone I think thought for a while, is this The Last of Us 2? No, it's a game called Days Gone. It is a zombie survival game. Big shocker.
Is it a Naughty Dog game?
It is not a Naughty Dog game,
okay.
which is it looks a lot like a Naughty Dog type game. Lots of zombies, ton of zombies on screen. It looked really cool. I'm not sure. A little more information I'm going to need to show on it. This is actually how Sony opened the conference and then ended the conference.
With the same game?
With the same game. So rather than showing the game and then showing a demo of it right after, they started the show with this, showing the movie for this, then they showed a demo at the end.
Oh.
Kind of a weird way to end. It was a little lackluster, but overall, the Sony conference was fantastic, so I can't...
Yeah.
So even for that, but it was cool just to see a little bit more of this to try to figure out that it was not a Last of Us or part of that universe as far as we know. But this definitely looked like a cool game.
Definitely.
So this game right here, this is a new title by the creators of Heavy Rain and whatnot. This is called Detroit Become Human.
Oh.
Yeah, so an amazing trailer for a really weird title game, but that doesn't anything for it. So this game is all about like the decisions you make, and it shows a standoff between an android who's got a hostage on top of a building, and another android comes in for hostage negotiations. And then the android who's got the hostage just falls off the edge.
No.
He just takes the hostage with you. And then it says like that's a poor decision, and it goes back and it's like you can go back and change any decision.
Oh, that's
so if
pretty
you
cool.
follow a completely different path, every decision you make can change the outcome.
I like
So
that.
it can go from one where he takes the hostage to one where you lie to the guy and you shoot him off and you save the hostage, or there was a whole bunch of different scenarios.
You don't get too many games like
No,
that.
the Heavy Rain developers are really good at storytelling, so this is going to definitely be a cool one to watch. They're good at pretty games, they're good at storytelling games. This is all about the choices you make, and that was the big thing for this one. So it looked a little creepy, but yeah, it looks really cool.
Do you know when the release date is?
There was no release date, I believe, as right now. I'm assuming probably sometime next year.
Okay.
This definitely looks like it's going to be a next year type title. So this was probably the big moment. So one other one that I didn't find for just to mention real quick, game called Horizon. You're basically going out trying to destroy like dinosaur robots. You're playing a female character. She was pretty cool. I forgot a picture, so you know what? Yeah, we'll cut that one out.
It's okay. That's fine.
It's all right. But you know, I'll probably get flagged for not saying. Anyway, this will be the big one. So, there were tons of cool stuff the Sony won that we didn't get to go over in this cast. But Horizon, Gravity Rush 2, even the new Call of Duty looked really cool. And I'm not a huge Call of Duty guy, but this one looked pretty cool. The new Lego Star Wars. Sony just kept showing game after game after game. But this was the moment that got everyone really riled up. At this moment, Kojima came out on stage
Nice.
to show his brand new game. This is called Death Stranding, and we don't know much about it. The trailer is pretty much a naked Norman Reedus holding a baby, and then the baby disappears, and there's dead crabs and dead fish and whales and just lots of dead animals everywhere.
So no gameplay.
No gameplay, nothing of showing that way, but Kojima games are usually always very pretty. Everything looks good, everything looks great. And I mean the modeling for Norman Reedus looks just like him. It's really cool looking. This is really cool because after Konami dropped Kojima for working with them and killed the idea of the new Silent Hill, which was they did that living trailer called PT, which Norman Reedus was in. Sony picked up Kojima to do a new project, and this is that project.
How shocked were you to see him on stage?
I
not
was
shocked.
well. I was surprised to see him on stage. I didn't know if, I mean, he hasn't been gone from Konami for that long,
Right.
And to even see that this concept even started happening, this was amazing to see.
Great.
It was cool to see they got Norman Reedus back for this new project. And yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see where things go. We'll probably hear next. We probably won't hear anything a lot from it until next E3. I'm guessing this game is probably not coming out for a couple of years. Maybe 2018.
That's fine.
2018, 2019. Maybe a
games
little
are
towards the
usually
end,
worth
but
the wait.
this is either probably going to be an end of PS3 life cycle, depending on how the new model goes,
PS4.
or even a PS 4.5 or 5, or depending on how it goes. But yeah, this really got the crowd going. But Yeah, things were so great. I mean, but yeah, the list of games just went on that they kept showing. One other quick mention that they started out the show with, there was an orchestra there for God of War 3.
Wow.
And there's a new God of War coming out, but it's set to Norse mythology. So when you saw the giant logo came out, it was God of War, and it had like the Omega. It didn't have the Omega symbol anymore. It had like runes and a dragon around it. So and Kratos had this giant beard. So we'll see where it goes. But yeah, I mean, the PlayStation press conference was astounding. There was no better way. I mean, when you and I watched the Xbox One, there were lots of cool things to go over. The problem is they did a lot of weird talking. There was a lot of downtime for like the demos because I mean, you know, they showed us the the Minecraft demo, and it was like, yeah. I mean, Minecraft's cool and all. I just didn't want to watch through another demo of Minecraft, but Sony just kept showing game after game after game after game.
So as far as first-party titles, you would give the edge to Sony?
In this case, I would. I mean, the fact is that Microsoft's plan seems a little odd. I mean, we'll see where it goes, but they're going definitely the PC Xbox, which is great, but that's saying if I have a PC, I can also just have a PlayStation and I can play most of the same games.
Exactly.
But in this case, a lot of these games are probably further off. Most of what that Sony showed was not necessarily exclusive. Resident Evil's not exclusive, but that doesn't. But the VR stuff is for right now anyway.
Wow.
So I definitely think Sony's got the edge, especially on what they showed for E3. We'll see we'll see how their promises work out as the next few months come, and hopefully every release date that they've given for at least the next few months to the end of the year, especially for me, Last of the Guardian will hopefully be the way to go. If I were to rate this conference, they definitely get an A. I mean, I was wavering back and forth on the Xboxes. I gave them a B, but the PlayStation A, hands down.
Nice.
Especially with that, and the cool way to go see it if I'm not out in Los Angeles and I didn't have to pay thousands of dollars to get to E3. Yeah, this is totally. Sony definitely hit it out of the park on this one. So
great. All right, so I guess that does it for this conference roundup.
Yep, for this conference roundup. Again, we'll be doing more work on Nintendo and then just kind of mentioning some of the other stuff because there were lots of cool little tidbits. But until next time, I'm Matthew Jones.
Anthony Futia.
See you later.